Yeah, that climate clock was unveiled and produced by two individuals, Gan Golan and Andrew Boyd, all to get people talking, acting, and thinking about climate change around the world. Now, they already had one clock produced, and that was in 2019, and they actually set that up in Berlin. And that was the new, but their newest creation was placed right in the heart of Manhattan for millions to pass by. The climate clock will be on display until September 27th, but the artists hope to find a permanent home for their creation in New York. They want people to pass by the clock and really think about their carbon footprint and how they can be more sustainable in life, whether that is reducing driving, using electricity over fossil fuels, or recycling more. It will all help the Earth slow its rate of warming. While the clock says once we hit January 1st, 2028, there is no going back. GVSU professor Robert Hollister, who boasts a large background in climate research, says it might not be as simple as that date, and several changes are already being seen.
You know, if we don't make major changes, it's so much harder to deal with it later. I mean, it's in a lot of ways, it's kind of analogous to the whole COVID thing. You know, it's much easier to avoid it than it is to deal with it once you've done it. We don't normally have like 5 tropical storms in the Atlantic at the same time. We don't normally have 2 hurricanes in the Gulf at the same time. I mean, those are but those are completely projected from climate change. So, in a lot of ways, we're already paying for our lack of listening to scientists 20 years ago.
And Professor Hollister says we are already in a different climate regime, but he says if people take steps to reduce their CO2 emissions into the atmosphere, it will help and maybe could even keep us from getting towards that irreversible climate change, which that clock is counting down to. But even after the clock counts down to 0, he says it's not completely irreversible if we take drastic steps at that point. We all need to reduce our CO2 emissions into the atmosphere. Otherwise, the fires that are happening in the West, the hurricanes that are happening in the Atlantic could become more frequent, and even here in Michigan, could start to get a little bit warmer and have a little bit less snow.